I just started my MBA earlier this past June, and a lot of people have been asking me why I'm getting my MBA, and I'm starting to wonder myself. I'm just kidding. I know why I'm getting my MBA, and actually I don't wear glasses. These are like my computer glasses, but I wanted to put them on at the beginning to just look a little bit studious since I am a student again. But anyway, welcome to the channel. My name is Ben and welcome to Rareliquid Careers, where my goal is to help you land your dream job or build your ideal career. To help you understand why I'm getting an MBA, I first need to share my story. I'll then go over why I'm getting an MBA. And lastly, I'll explain how I envision the MBA fitting into my long-term plans. A few quick things before we get started though. First, I'm actually building out a how to get into MBA course, and I'm giving a huge discount away to people who sign up early. So if you're interested in that, then feel free to check out my Google sign up form link in the description below. And second, shout out to our sponsor for today's video, Target Test Prep, for helping make this video possible. Alright, now with that said, let me first provide some context by sharing with you my story. Starting with the basics, I grew up and was raised in Los Angeles, and up until the age of 10, I wanted to become a baseball player. And then at around 10 years old, I realized that I was just not very athletic. And then so after that, I had always wanted to just start my own business for whatever reason. I think I was inspired by my dad, who was an entrepreneur himself. And honestly, I watched a lot of like TV shows where business and owning your own business just looked really cool. And so that was my general lifelong kind of goal. But when I went to school at UC Berkeley, where I majored in business, I didn't really know how to start a business. It was such a foreign concept to me. And so I just focused on getting the best possible job that I could. And so I ended up after graduation working at JP Morgan as an investment banking analyst. I started working in 2015 and everything was going pretty well. I liked the group I was in. Contrary to the reputation that banking has overall, I feel like I was really gaining a lot from my experience, and really, if I could go back in time, probably would be an investment banking analyst again, just because of what I learned. But anyway, back in 2017, my mom was actually diagnosed with ALS, and that's a disease where your muscles slowly start to deteriorate over time. It's the disease Stephen Hawking has. There's no cure, and it's a terminal illness. And my mom is, as for most people, she continues to be the most important person in my life. And during that time when she got diagnosed, life just hit me like a brick. And I felt like I just had to rethink all of my priorities. I really thought a lot about, even though banking is a job that is teaching me a lot, it's not necessarily what I want to do for the rest of my life. I also didn't really want to join like a tech company or a hedge fund or a private equity firm. Like those things weren't like, it didn't feel like my true calling in a sense, if we all have anything like that. And like I mentioned, ever since I was 10 years old, I had always wanted to start my own business, right? And so I actually quit in 2018. It took me about a year to kind of figure out what to do. And I decided to just quit without a plan, no job lined up. And I just wanted to fulfill a different kind of lifelong dream I had of backpacking around the world. So I went to Asia, Australia, South America, and some parts of the United States. And so that's what I did for a period of 6 months. As I was doing my travels, I was constantly kind of thinking of different types of business ideas. I didn't actually know if by the end of my travels, I was for sure gonna have an entrepreneurial venture that I was just gonna lunge into. I was also kind of, in the back of my mind thinking, if I don't think of something, then I'll just kind of find another job. But I did think of an idea which eventually became Aesthetic Studios, which was a fashion brand aiming to be the Nike for creatives. So just as how Nike honors great athletes, we wanted to have a brand that honors artists and creatives because we felt like that didn't exist in the world, and I actually still think that it's a good idea. But for various reasons, including not really having the right amount of resources and not really knowing too much about fashion, the entire business was honestly a huge dumpster fire, and I lost a lot of the money I saved up and invested into the business. And so by the end of 2020, I had applied to a few jobs and got rejected. And I was like, oh shit, am I unemployable? And so that's when I kind of thought, maybe I should just go to business school because it gives you a very clean slate. Plus, I had always wanted to go to school and kind of see what the experience was like. And so that's why I applied in January 2021. And I ended up getting into Wharton and Columbia a few months later. But then because of my family situation, I wanted to spend more time in Korea with my family. So I actually deferred by a year. And so as and I actually started Rareliquid and YouTube overall in January 2021. So basically for about a year and a half, I just became a full-time content creator. And now a lot of people ask me, now that Rare Liquid and this channel, Rare Liquid Careers, has gotten to a certain point where I honestly would probably be making more as a content creator than any other job I would recruit for straight out of MBA. Like, why are you doing an MBA? And I'll go into that in a bit. Before going into that, I actually want to tell you guys about the scariest part, at least for me, of the entire MBA application process, which was the GMAT, because I had not been a student for 6 or 7 years until I took the GMAT, and I was just thinking that this test might destroy me and all the chances that I potentially have when I was applying for MBA applications. But Target Test Prep, which is the sponsor for today's video, really helped me a ton. So let me tell you a bit more about them. Target Test Prep, also known as TTP, is a GMAT prep course that covers both quant and verbal, and TTP breaks down the entire GMAT into a list of individual topics. What's great about TTP is that each topic comes with lessons and practice sets that range from easy to medium to hard, so that you can build your confidence and master each topic and then crush the GMAT. According to verified reviews on GMAT Club, the average reported GMAT score from TTP is 727, and TTP is also the only company with triple-digit reviews and a 5-star rating. I credit Target Test Prep a lot for helping me get a 750 on the GMAT, and so if you're interested in applying for MBA programs and you're trying to study for the GMAT, I highly recommend TTP. You can check them out for 5 days for just $1 if you use my link down in the description below, and so feel free to check them out if you're interested. Right, now next up, let me go into why I'm getting an MBA. First of all, to provide a little bit of background information in case you're unfamiliar with why people in general get MBAs, there tend to be really 3 main reasons. The first is for career-related advancement or career advancement. The second is to build relationships and just be a part of the MBA network. And then lastly, it's for academics, especially if you don't really have a business background, you can actually gain a pretty decent amount of learning from classes. Now focusing on why I'm getting an MBA, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, initially when I had applied, it was more to just figure out what I wanted to do next with my life and have that clean slate so I could recruit for a different job. But now I would say my reasons have kind of changed, and I'd say there are 3 main reasons. The first are relationships. I had been in Korea for the past 3 or 4 years, and for a really large majority of that entire time, I was kind of just by myself and with my family. I did go see friends on weekends here and there, but then I didn't really expand my network. And while I still do have like a really solid group of friends all across the US, I did want to kind of just expand my network in a sense, but also just build a lot more friendships. And you don't really have a lot of opportunities like business school where you're all kind of students again, and you're kind of like, say, like-minded people and have like similar goals and interests. And so there's not really an opportunity like school unless I went to school. And so that's really one reason, just relationships. The second are long-term career opportunities, because again, I don't plan to recruit at all during this whole MBA experience. And so it's not really the short-term career stuff that I find really compelling or interesting to me. It's more of in the next 20, 40 years, as I'm working on a lot of different types of businesses. And I realized over the past few years that I come up with a lot of new types of business ideas kind of all the time. And you'll kind of see this in the next section of the video when I kind of go through my kind of long-term career goals. But I think that it'll just be very helpful to have a lot of different people that I can always reach out to who are kind of leaders in different industries, or maybe they could be a part of the team that I work on. And so a lot of great long-term career opportunities. The third and last reason is to create content about my MBA experience. And I know it probably sounds crazy to a lot of people where it's like, yeah, this guy is going to MBA school and paying all this money for the tuition and all that in order to create content about it. Now, obviously it's not the only reason, because I mentioned the other ones previously, but I think my general content philosophy is to create content that no one else is making. And the MBA experience is not really well covered on YouTube or just publicly in general. And I actually have a lot of ideas where I think with the content that I'm able to create and the different business ideas that I have, I'll be able to recoup the tuition that I pay. And so I think overall it'll be a positive for the relationships I build. I'll have long-term career advancement and a positive ROI based on what I'm able to do with Rare Liquid Careers with my MBA experience. And so those are really the 3 main reasons as to why I'm pursuing an MBA right now. That's actually a good segue into the next part of the video, which is how my MBA fits in with my long-term plans. So now this is where I kind of want to share my long-term plans for where I see Rare Liquid going in the future, because right now, I think when a lot of people when I tell them about what I do, they think I'm just like a YouTuber, but I've always approached Rare Liquid overall as a business that can grow into a lot of different kind of fields. And so what I mean by that is eventually I want to have Rare Liquid kind of be a brand and an umbrella brand for a lot of different divisions. So right now, I feel like I've kind of built up Rare Liquid Media, which is YouTube. I'm working on TikTok, also Instagram, Twitter, newsletter, kind of like the marketing engine for different divisions that I'll explain now, I guess. So there's Rare Liquid Media, and then Rare Liquid Careers is something I'm building out right now, where I'm building out courses for how to get into an MBA program, how to get into investment banking, and how to do fundamental research for crypto. And we want to make sure that those courses are super, super high quality courses that I wish I had when I was, recruiting for banking or investing in crypto or going through that whole MBA application process. And so I think there's also a lot of opportunities with my MBA of meeting a lot of people in different types of fields and building out more courses with them if Rare Liquid Careers goes well. And so that's like the second division. And then the third division I have in mind is Rare Liquid Wealth Management. And this is specifically only for content creators because I feel like I'm in a pretty unique position where I have former finance experience, I'm interested in investing, and I'm also knowledgeable about content creation. And so I want to create a wealth management kind of division only for content creator clientele, because I feel like a lot of content creators have, they just make content for fun, they enjoy it, and then all of a sudden they start making a lot of money. And I actually have been in contact with other content creators who kind of ask me about how to invest and things like that. So I want to have a small client base of content creators that I help with career or kind of like financial coaching in terms of how to grow their money. I don't want to actually manage their money myself. And then lastly, in the future, my goal for that fourth division is Rare Liquid Capital, where we invest in private rounds for crypto or other kinds of businesses, and also probably also invest in the public markets a bit with company capital. And so those are the kind of four divisions that I want to grow Rare Liquid into, in a sense, or I want the brand to kind of be the umbrella brand for those four divisions. And as I work on all of these different things, I'm going to need a lot of manpower and a really talented pool of people that I can work with. And I'm already working on a few things that I've already mentioned with some classmates that I met at Wharton over the past few weeks, right? So I think that's how I envision my MBA kind of fitting in with my long-term plans. And I hope that was interesting. Now, if I was being a little bit more critical of myself, I do think that fitting my MBA with my long-term plans is a little bit obscure right now. I don't know exactly how things are going to turn out, but I have confidence that I'll meet some really, really smart, talented people who I'll want to work with. And I have a ton of ideas all the time of things that I want to do. And my philosophy is always try to give people equity, make them partial owners, and then work on things together and expand the pie for everyone. And that's what I want to continue to do over the next few years. It is a risk. There is no guarantee that this plan that I have is going to succeed. But as I mentioned throughout this entire video, my goal has always been entrepreneurship. And now that I've been pursuing it over the past 3 or 4 years, I definitely don't want to go back to the corporate world. I really enjoy and love entrepreneurship. And so I think over these next few years, a lot of opportunities will come around because of my MBA program and all the stuff I'm doing with Rare Liquid. And so, yeah, I'm pretty excited for all of that. And I hope to share everything that happens along this, wild, crazy journey with all of you. All right, so that concludes the video. And if you're interested in actually seeing my Wharton and Columbia applications that got me admission into those two programs, I'm selling those at rareliquidcareers.com if you want to check that out down in the description. Also wanted to give a shout out again to our sponsor, Target Test Prep. If you are studying for the GMAT, they pretty much, I believe, are the best resource that you can use in order to get a good score. And with that said, thank you all so much for watching. Hope to catch you all in the next video. Thanks so much and peace out.